What up, guys and girls? Another brand new video coming at you today. We are back for another round of the Spec F1 Esports Elite Series for Season 3 here in tier number 2. We'll show you, I'll be showing you the highlights from round number 10 Hungary very shortly, but I'll take you back to the highlights from the last round between France and Hungary that I did, which was Austria. Now, obviously, qualifying in Austria was on intermediate conditions. I actually qualified in P5, which I gotta say I was actually pretty surprised about, considering I had fairly decent pace in the intermediates. As you can probably tell, there's a little bit of drama going on in the background there. So we obviously made a good start there up into P4. Now obviously there was a mixture of who was starting on what competitor tyres, as Rhythms goes for a late move up the inside into turn 3. Nearly said turn 2. And Rhythms got a bit away with, let me start it again. Rhythms, I think, got away without any damage from that. Same with Plebs. They stay in their positions for this time being. So ACW was battling away with contrast for position, but managed to hold on for the time being. We get to lap 2. The braking mark is absolutely gone, and I am absolutely gone as well, considering I have absolutely no idea what on earth happened. I think I may have maybe just gone into the corner, maybe just a little bit too quick.
That screwed me. Fuck.
And in the end, I dropped all the way back from P4 actually to P12. So it was not the greatest of starts. Anyway, it was looking okay, then it went pear-shaped from there. As you can probably tell, we go for another spin down to turn 1. So so we get ourselves flicked around. We only lose the one spot in the end. That was Big Chich that got past us there for P11. So now we're back down into P12. The tyres were absolutely on fire, or the left rear was. So I thought may as well come into the pit lane, and we spin it coming into the pit lane entry. So yeah, the race is really went downhill after lap 1. So we make it slowly but surely back into the pit lane. We had to cut across the pit lane line there, which I don't think you can do there. And they get a 5-second penalty for spinning in the pit lane, considering I was on 80 kilometres an hour. But I was obviously on the wrong sort of indicator there. Obviously, if it was on the green side of 80k, then it would have been perfect, but it was on the red side, so obviously not the case. So we tried fighting on for a position to try and get in the top 10. We lost a spot there to Axie there, ACSC in the Renault, and then we went for another spin and pretty much got finished off there by Anto Valo there in the AlphaTauri. So apologies to Anto there if he actually got wing damage from that. I'm not actually sure in the end whether he did or not, but in the end, we come across the line. We completed late there in the end for mediums, and well, I mean that pretty much just sums up my race really.
Let you go so you could catch easy push when you do that penalty. Is that right?
I had good success in Austria in the past, but not as recently. You can probably hear in the background as well. There was a little bit of conjecture going on between ACW and Plebs, because I think they swapped positions in the end, but neither of them caught Isaac Kush in the end. So there was probably might have been a little bit heated afterwards in the party chat, but it might have been just the racing blood or something that comes out of you sometimes when you're racing on track. But anyway, that was that anyway. So I'm hopeful they got over it pretty quickly in the end. So anyway, we get to Hungary, which if you watch the Pacific Series, there's the championship standings. So obviously it probably will change. The lead will change, obviously, considering the reserve drivers are still leading. It's 1 point between Williams and Mercedes in the constructors. You'll probably see the ACW should take the championship lead pretty soon, effectively, if you take away the reserves. We're down, where the hell are we? I don't even know where the hell we are in the standings there. Let me just check my notes here. We're P22, there you go. So
who's the first Williams?
Yeah, there's where we are currently at the moment. There's all the driver of the days.
Alright, well I'm just going to set up your ass and go for this.
So if you've, first things first, if you haven't watched the previous Elite Series video from France, I recommend you go check that out, because it was certainly an entertaining race, that is for sure. But obviously now getting into Hungary, obviously if you've watched my video as well from the Pacific Series, you'll know I had pretty decent success as well in that. Well, obviously I started from the back and in the end come through for was it P13 to P4, so I mean it wasn't overly too bad. to start with in the end, as that was G-Force Dre, I think that was in the Williams, who's had a bit of an off. I think it was him in turn 11, or maybe in ACW. I couldn't actually tell there, so apologies to the Williams boys. But obviously, invalidated my first run there. You can probably tell there's a sneezing Lachlan in the background at LM15. He was
oh shit, that's not
back in this party chat as well for this round. I think it was.
Yeah.
As he was
Stop board.
I actually left this bit in the video here because he actually called it a stop board, not a braking marker. I don't know where on earth he heard that from, but never in my life have I ever heard somebody call a brake marker a stop board. I could be wrong, but I mean that was just me. That was certainly something funny in the end to laugh about. It's, I think a second run on the soft compounded tyres. It wasn't obviously going to be the quickest, obviously. So obviously, just to be on the safe side, it was just basically a slow lap time anyway. Because I think I was going to try and maybe start the race on the medium compounded tyres, and this would be just as well being if I qualified on the mediums, and if I pretty much buggered up my last run on the soft compounded tyres, which I think I was planning on doing to start with, as we just wait to find a little bit of space there. It was ACW. I think it's just either completed his lap or about to start a flyer there. He's also just trying to leave room here for guys already on flyers. That's Chain Game Wow. That was Harry Tomato there in the Alfa Romeo. He's also gone flying past as well. And also, I think he was also on an outlap as well at that point in time here. So we're going to obviously, this lap here was pretty much just a sort of a warm-up lap here, you could say, on the medium compounded tyres. You're probably hearing a lot of wheelbase noises in the background there. I'm not actually sure who that was. I have a feeling it may have been either one of the Alpha Tauri drivers. I'm not actually 100% sure on that one. So we went again for another flyer, and obviously I lost the back end coming out of turn 2, and in the end I pretty much aborted that lap time. But we cut to our third lap, I think, on the medium compounded tyres, and obviously I wanted to try and get a competitive lap timing on the medium compounded tyres, just to be on the safe side. But coming through turn 4, we just ran it out just the slightest wide out at exit of turn 4, and in the end I had to abort that lap time. So we went one more time just to be on the safe side. If this lap didn't work out, then I pretty much just abort and come back into the pit lane and qualify on the soft compounded tyres. And again, we just run wide coming out of turn 3 there, and again it invalidated my lap time. Well, probably would have invalidated my lap time there at turn 4, considering I cut it so much. But basically I had to abort that idea of starting on the mediums and, well, probably more than likely going onto the hard compounded tyres. But yeah, we're basically going to have to try and qualify on the soft compounded tyres. Like, in recent past, you want to try and avoid the soft compounded tyres, but yeah, sometimes you probably could get away with a soft to hard compounded tyre on this game. There's actually quite a few tracks actually where you would avoid the soft compounded tyres quite a bit, and you can now obviously this game on the softs to hards you could probably do. It's I still don't understand why we can't choose out a compounded tyres we want to qualify on. Like say if we went to either China or Singapore and we want to avoid the soft compounded tyres, we can choose how many sets of mediums we want, just avoid the softs altogether, even if it just be one set of softs, So I think Cody's get onto it for the next game. But this is our final flying lap here. You can see we're actually dead last, I think, of the runners in P17. So we're going to see if we can set a much better lap time here, maybe get ourselves inside the top 10. As we do start in the top, well, I mean, ideally, I didn't want to really start in the top 10, but I mean, if I had to, then I had to. His contrast is retired. He's in the pit lane. So we fly through turn 5 and through the chicane here at turn 6 and 7. Just taking it nice and cautiously, using a lot more exit curve than what I did in Pacific, because I've since sort of found out you can probably use a lot more exit curve around there. If you just place the car in the right spot, then you should be fine. Not validating at the exit of turn 11. So looking like a decent lap time at the moment. I think we're about, what was it, 1.8 seconds quicker than our previous best, which is on the soft compounded tyres as well. But we come around the final corner now, as that's ACW just coming into the pit lane. There's somebody's just went to the top there, as we jump ourselves up into P8 with that lap time. So that was 2.6 seconds quicker on that lap. So it's a 14.0, not quite cracking a 13. So I was actually hoping I'd crack a 13, but just didn't quite have enough there in the end. But I think Plez originally had provisional pole, but then it got stolen at the last minute by Isaac Kush in the end, who takes another pole position, and he'll share the front row with Plevs in the Mercedes, ACW in third, Rhythms in fourth, Giroux there in P5. I think this is probably the first time I've raced with him, or actually, take it back, I was out back in Austria as well.
You got the real pole.
It's, we dropped back to P9 in the end. I think somebody else improved later on, I don't actually know. In the end, and Harry Tomato rounds out our top 10. This is the first round I think I've had a teammate as well. Goran Radosevich. I apologise if I got the gamer tag wrong there, but he was down in position 12, so not a bad position there for Red Bull. So I think this, like I said, this is his first race. So good start, nice handy start. Hopefully we can get some double points. So race strategy-wise, you can probably tell we're going to go soft to hard compounded tyres. It probably seems the logical choice around here. So off we go for the formation lap. So obviously we're outside, inside the top 10, I should say. And the majority of these guys are on the soft compounded tyres here. But you can see on the formation lap here as we go into turn 1, I didn't really feel like I touched ACSC there in front there, but it was just enough of a touch there to disqualify both of us. It actually has also disqualified Lachlan as well, but I think that was for a separate incident there on the formation lap. As you can see, just having a look on what tyres starting on who's starting on what outside the top 10. I think Lachlan may be the only one. LM15 is on the mediums. I think everybody else is on the hards. I think so Barlow and Goran have also been disqualified from the formation lap. So yeah, there was at least 5 cars that were joined us in the formation lap, but obviously getting ourselves disqualified is not going to do the good well or good for our tyres, considering they're going to be probably dead set cold compared to everybody else. So let's hope we get a decent start. So here we go. We're all set for round 10 at Hungary. 5 red lights. Let's do it around the Hungara ring. We're just trying to get off the line here. I think the probably the same could be said for Axie there, ACSC in the Renault. And Harry Tomato actually got a pretty decent start there as he's got straight down the outside line here into turn 1. We're trying to make it nice and coursey. There's a bit of contact through there, and then there's a little bit of ghosting there.
Someone was ghosting.
And yeah, well, on my screen, ACSC was ghosting. Well, when I made contact, he was ghosting, but I was thinking he'd get away with that, but not the case. So again, I apologise about that one, but I mean, it was sort of out of my hands here, and I think this might be sort of a common theme because, you know, obviously this, I've mentioned this before, Elite Series is sort of a mixture of like Pacific, Euro and America drivers. So obviously you'll get these sort of situations where that sort of thing will happen, where there'll be obviously lag incidents, there'll be ghosting incidents like what happened there. So again, I apologise to Axie there for what occurred, but yeah, I mean, it was sort of out of my hands there anyway. But at lap 2 there, I think someone else had a spin there on the front straight. But we're trying to keep in touch here with Harry Tomato. Chain Game Wow, I think he's actually got a much better start compared to everybody else here, because he was actually, he's another one of the guys outside the top 10 as we go up the inside of Harry Tomato. Give him a little bit of a touch there. Hopefully it wasn't too much of a touch there, but we get ourselves back up into our starting spot of position 9. But yeah, Chain Game Wow, I think, benefited from what happened at turn 1. Not sure whether he actually was one of the ones that made contact with ACSC in the first place, but he's probably the best of the medium compounded tyre runners out of, well, everybody here at the current moment in P8. He's now putting pressure on G-Force Dre, as now we're starting to try and pull away of somebody who's spun in the background. I think it was Harry Tomato, by the looks of it, because I think his name's just disappeared off the graphic there. So can't actually remember which one of the AlphaTauri boys. By the way, you will hear the party chat, obviously, We've got both the Williams cars, being G-Force Dre, ACW, Plevs in the Mercedes, and both the AlphaTauri boys, Anto and Alex as well. So Dre's coming at the end of lap 4 there, so it's a couple of laps later than what he did in Pacific. So he definitely have a little bit more fresh rubber up his sleeve compared to what happened in Pacific, obviously, where he pitted at the end of lap 1 and went to the end of the race. As ACW now pits at the end of lap 5. I think he was the only one, so that obviously now elevates us up into P7. Sort of dropped out of the DRS window here of Shane Game Wow as well. I think so. We'll have to try and get ourselves back into that one. Let's have a look at some replays of the start here. So this is on board Plez. Kush got an absolute ripper start there off the line. And now Plez is being surrounded here by Rhythms, ACW. I think on the left-hand side it is. These guys go around the outside. There's a little bit of contact there. There will be a little bit of a lag bubble there as well. So you can probably see, hence why the video sort of glitches out a little bit. Oh, on his point of view, I should say. Let's have a look on board with the ACSC of what happened with his start. I'm not sure whether this will probably pinpoint like who actually made contact there into turn 1, but we'll probably find out. So you can see going down into turn 1, there's he sort of got a little bit squeezed there into turn 1 there by both Chain Game Wow and I think it was Harry Tomato, the other car, may got caught up, and ACSC's obviously now dropped to the back of the grid now. So what occurred on the formation lap, as there's Alex Pato, who's actually had a spin there on the curb, I think, or actually got spun around, not entirely sure there at turn 2. He's on board with Contrast starts. Of course, you just ignore the left-hand side. There's a few gamer tags that are not showing. I don't know what it is. There's obviously a little bit of a glitch on his point of view or something. But Chain Game came at an absolute pace. So hence why, obviously, he made up a couple of spots there. So probably going for a risky dive bomb there. And, oh, whoa, geez. As I think Alex maybe tried to go for a big move up the inside of my teammate, actually, but didn't actually work out. So might have been trying to come back from something there that occurred. I'm not entirely sure between turns 1 and 2. That was actually KD that actually spun out of the final corner onto the front straight. As Plebs under attack here from ACW, I think. Had a little bit of a look there, but just thought better of it for the time being. Actually, it might have been just a little bit of contact there, because I think Charoux's actually going to take advantage of that in the McLaren, and he does. So it's not ended well there for ACW, but he hopefully recover, as there's what happened to Harry Tomato. So I think he may have done that all by himself, maybe got on the power a little bit too early there. I'm not actually 100% too sure. I wasn't watching in the foreground there. And he's Plevs coming under attack here from Charoux. It was lap 5. A little bit of contact there, but not too bad. There's a bit of wheel banging, but he gets the move done. Up into position 3 now for Charoux. He'll try and chase after Rhythms. Plevs will probably come under attack from ACW. Meanwhile, this is ACSC. There's his teammate who's had a spin coming out of turn 13. It is possible to lose the back end. Well, obviously, if you get on the power too early there, and obviously that's what happened to Lachlan there. And there's ACSC, probably go for a late move up the inside of my teammate, who's obviously on the hard cop advertising, gets the job done. So he gets us up into position 10.
Yeah, nice. I've been talking to myself. So my wheel's basically stuck full right hand down and full accelerator, so I have to retire on track. Okay.
There's I think Lachlan is having a few, probably maybe one of the reasons why he maybe had that spin, because he's having a few wheel issues there. So he just basically warned everybody, like, should a safety, or if a safety car...
What is that shit, man? Go through a corner and it just floors it and hooks it full right.
If a safety car comes out, obviously, then he doesn't have to probably answer for too much, I shouldn't think. But lap 7 there, Kush has now come into the pit lane. I think he was the only car that came into the pit lane. So, yeah, Lachlan not overly too thrilled either with the game or the wheel. So,
my steering was full lock.
Not ideal for Lachlan, unfortunately. So he's out of the Grand Prix. Not the greatest of ways you want to go out of the Grand Prix with wheel issues. I know for a fact Rhythms also has been having wheel issues as well, obviously since I joined the Elites here. But we're going to pit at the end of lap 7, because I think this was our pit, lap where we were going to pit anyway. So make sure we get it right to the line here. Get it under the pit lane speed limit, and I think ACS is also in, as well as... Is there anybody else? I think it's just us two, actually. As we've got his POV on the top right, have your screen. So we're onto the hard competitor tyres. Now, ACS, he has to change his front wing, obviously, because he got damage from that contact, I think, earlier on. He also goes on the hard competitor tyres. There's G-Force Dre on our point of view. So he actually stays ahead. But, of course, he came in a couple of laps earlier, so we should have a little bit of fresh rubber up our sleeve. So we hopefully will be able to close in on him. And like I said in the Pacific video, that we actually had pretty decent pace with Dre as well. So if anything, we should be able to hopefully continue to draw in to the back of the Williams, as Ples now is into the lane, as well as a couple of others. There's the McLaren of Charu. He manages to just hang on in front of him. I think there's somebody else in the pit lane. I can't actually tell. Got right on screen, but they're just leaving the lane now. As there goes ACW, I think that was. So he'll maintain position ahead of these guys. And now Dre obviously will close into these two players in the foreground. To maybe try and get him while he's on warmer tyres compared to cold tyres for Plebs. Probably even for Charu as well. Lap 10, pretty much everything stayed stable. Dre actually runs a little bit wide at turn 1. Going to see if we can keep him in the slipstream here. I think he's just sort of dropped off the window here. Well, I think he still kept in the DRS, but those lockups he probably might not be, dropping back a little bit towards me. Back we go to Contrast, who's
I can't do anything about it. He's just using up all his freaking batteries.
He's doing the opposite strategy here, but he's got the slipstream down here into turn 1. There's a big dive bomb at the inside of Anto Valo there in the AlphaTauri, so he gets the move done on him. And I think next up for him is Chain Game Wow, if I'm not mistaken. So now into lap 11 here. She's still trying to close in here on G-Force Dre. Somebody's gone for a spin. That's KD. I think it's gone for a spin in the racing point. And I'm not sure whether there's actually contact with somebody else or not, or whether he's done that on his own. So I think Plebs has taken advantage of that. He's got ahead of Charu. So we'll have a look and see what's occurred here. I think this is sort of separate here. So KD gets a little bit sideways, and Charu actually get caught up in all of that. How Plebs didn't get any wing damage from that, I have no idea, but he's got away with that amazingly. I don't know how he did that. Got good, what's the word I'm trying to look for here? It'll probably come to me later on, so I should know the word anyway that I'm trying to think of, but I can't. Got a good something or other. Anyway, but we'll get back to that. Dre's got up the inside of Charu. We're trying to follow him here as KD now retires from the race, so he's at not the greatest of races for him. So we managed to keep in touch with Dre as get ahead of Charu. Also, Star is Born has also got past Charu as well. So he's maybe starting to drop, I say drop away, maybe with the front wing damage as well. So he might be starting to fall away back a little bit in the McLaren there. It's actually just still battling away here. Actually, I'll take that back. A Star is Born, I think, has maybe gone for a spin himself. I think if you touch the curb at turn 5 in the entry, then there's a big opportunity, a big possibility that you will spin out. So I think that's possibly what's happened to A Star is Born. So it's given us a little bit of breathing space. We pick up our first 3-second time penalty of the race, I believe. So that's not going to help us later on in the race. Here comes Plebs with a lot of speed there on Alex Pato. Of course, these guys are obviously on different strategies. So Plebs now it's P8, Alex in P9. Of course, we'll still have to pit, obviously. But this is probably where the these guys, the front here on the hard competitor tyres, as Dre goes for a little bit of a slide there. I think he got on the curb too much there coming into turn 13, but he just managed to hang on for the time being here. So we might have a look here for a move up the inside into turn 1. We've got the DRS and ERS overtake button in full swing. His red light's flashing, which means obviously it's under 10% ERS. Go up the inside here. Make sure to give him a little bit of room here, but he actually gets much better drive coming out of the corner there, so fair play to Dre. We still maintain the DRS here. Have a think about it going down inside of the turn 2, but he just manages to hang on for the time being. As you can see, I'm trying to do a little bit of a technique here, what I used in Pacific, where I got around the outside of Banana, but it didn't quite work out in the end. We ran a little bit wide. Again, I'm surprised I didn't actually get a warning for that either. It was probably some parts of the track where I was getting away with warnings there, but anyway, onto lap 16 now. This is when Chain Game Wow is pitted. And look at the overcut that he's done here. Remember, he started on the medium compound tyres, and he's overcut both myself and Dre out of the pit lane here. So I think Dre was expecting Chain Game Wow to be a lot further back than what was expected, but he's in a good position here. Chain Game Wow, obviously on much fresher hard compound tyres compared to everybody, us two especially, and the guys in front. Back we go to ACSC, who's putting pressure here on A Star Is Born. He's covering down the inside into turn 1, so you have to go around the outside. Tries to think about the switch back here into turn 2. So you obviously have the DRS and overtake button, so you have to try and go around the outside move here into turn 2. If he can hang it around here, he'll get the inside for turn 3, and he does. Good move there for ACSC. So he's slowly but surely making his way back, although there's still a fair gap to the next car in front, which is, in this case, me, as he nearly loses altogether through turn 4. Somehow didn't end up with the wall there. I don't know how that hasn't happened, but there's somebody off the road there. That's actually my teammate. I think he's had a spin, or a half spin actually, and it's not ended well for Goran, unfortunately.
Okay, so all of our tyre pressure data is reading 0 at the moment. Assuming they still look inflated to you, we're going to guess it's just a bad sensor. Shouldn't be anything to worry about.
And so I got a very weird message there from Jeff saying that the tyre well, there was a bit of an issue on, well, sort of their side. I've sort of heard that message a little bit in like the career mode or my team side of things, but never in an online league race. So I don't think it's an issue, but we'll just have to wait and see anyway. But my teammate obviously is now coming to the pit lane, as well as Alex Pato and Anto Varlo. Now, that's actually not great for AlphaTauri. Well, I didn't think it was at the time anyway, considering to double stack both the AlphaTauris on the same lap, and considering those two, I think, are both in the party as well. So, not sure what they were thinking at the time, maybe, whether they thought that was a good strategy or not. As contrast, now trying to hold off the effective race leader, which is now behind him, which is Kush. So Kush trying to go around the outside here into turn 2. Have to brake deep as he dares. Maybe cut across him a little bit there, but in the end, Kush will take the effective race lead back. Meanwhile, we're still all over the back here of GeForce Dre. I can't really seem to get rid of him here. I was wondering at this point whether Dre's actually sick of the sight of me at this point, considering I was on his ass in the Pacific tier, and now I'm on his ass in the Elite tier as well. So I'm wondering whether that would be the case or not, but also, should mention as well that Anto is starting to close in on us as well. Remember, he's on the fresh medium compounded tyres, and I sort of had a feeling that this was going to happen here. Obviously, the guys that came in early on the soft compounded tyres would obviously went on to the hards. Obviously, will probably come back to the guys who did the opposite strategy, hards to medium. So as there's contrast leaving the lane now, here comes Anto up the inside, and well, to be fair, I wasn't really going to put up much of a fight here, considering he's on much fresher rubber compared to me, much quicker rubber as well for that matter. So he gets up into P7 here. We'll try and see if we can tag along with him, and hopefully maybe you could try and drag us up to GeForce Dre here. It's also as well, like I said, the medium compounded tyre runners will start to come into their own here. It's also contrast will have the pace right behind me as well. I think Anto will also probably more than likely get past GeForce Dre, and well, I mean, this is pretty much a no match here. I'm just gonna let it go here up the inside into turn 1. You know, the contrast gets the move for P8, and I think Anto's also got past position for P6 there over GeForce Dre. So Dre will be be the next target for contrast. He's up into P8 now. seems to be a common theme, I think, this season from what I've seen from Contrast. He sort of seems to start to come from the back and make his way through the field.
4.6. They have a time penalty of 3.0. 3 seconds will be added to their time at the end of the race.
So I have a bit of a sideways moment there. I think that was for Contrast or AXCs. I'm not actually 100% sure for that one, but probably you guys and girls would have been able to see which way it went, but I believe it's for Contrast there. So he's also got a 3-second penalty. I've got 3 seconds where the penalties at this stage. So these guys now starting to, Contrast is starting to close in on Dre here, and I think this will be an easy move up the inside into turn 1, or even before turn 1 actually, and he's got the move done for P7 now. So now hopefully we can start to close in on G-Force Dre. We're still in the DRS at this moment in time. So as Contrast now starts to pull away from G-Force Dre, he'll probably start to push a bit of pressure on the next car in front. I'm not actually sure who that is. I think it might be Chain Game Wow, who's got passed by Anto Varlo there. So I think Chain Game might come under a bit of attack as well.
The gap behind us is 4.7 seconds. They're on old hards. Their tyres are 14 laps old. The time last lap was a 1:18.4. They have a time penalty of 3.0. 3 seconds will be added to their time at the end of the race.
Okay, so that was for ACS. He's got 3 seconds with the penalties. We'll getting updated as well with G-Force Dre.
The time last lap was a 1:18.9. You're gaining by 1/10 lap. They have a time penalty of 3.0. 3 seconds will be added to their time at the end of the race.
So Dre's also got 3 seconds worth of penalties. And Chain Game Wow is absolutely trying to annoy the hell out of Contrast at the moment here. Contrast actually got the move done to turn 1, but then Chain Game came back at him in turn 2 and actually got the move done there, so it didn't sound like Contrast was too overly happy there with that Chain Game there. I sort of don't understand why he didn't let him go there. I can understand him trying to fight for position there, but like I said, when you're pretty much on, well, I mean, he's on a lot younger hard compounded tyres compared to myself and Dre. Considering he's got a guy behind him on mediums, I think Contrast may have just given him a little bit of a nudge there just to say, hello, I wasn't too thrilled about what occurred earlier. As we obviously, you saw there putting up a second time penalty of the race as I actually follow Dre there around the final corner. We're going to pick ourselves up a warning as well. As Contrast goes up the inside into turn 1, and he might have it done. We'll wait and see. Tries to get on the power here. He'll have the inside line here this time around. So Chain Game will have to try go around the long way. But I think this time Contrast has got the position. So that's for position 6 now. For Contrast, as we pick up another warning there. Now, if we pick up another one, will be our 3rd time penalty of the race, which not ideal to say the least, as there we go, right on cue. We pick up our 3rd time penalty of the race. So I wasn't too overly thrilled about that, considering, well, I think it was a lot better. Well, no, I'll say that. I think it was pretty even now on penalties compared to in the Pacific tier race that happened earlier on. But now it's a lap 26 now. We're still in the DRS here of Dre, but obviously now he's trying to put pressure here on Chain Game Wow, who doesn't have the pace at the moment here. There's a little bit of contact down there into turn 1. It just sort of seemed weird how Chain Game Wow didn't pull away from the both of us, considering he's on much pressure hards. As Dre goes for a big boy dive up the inside, it doesn't work out. He has to yield the position, and in the end has to yield a spot to me.
Close there.
I thought it was a little bit close then, and actually, if you tell from the thumbnail, it actually was probably a little bit too close there. But we get the move done in the end there to get past Dre. So now's our opportunity to maybe have a try at Chain Game Wow, considering Dre had a crack, but it didn't quite work. So, but you can tell, yeah, the cloud cover has come over quite a bit. There's no forecast for rain at all, but you see there as well down the bottom, ACW's actually left the session. There's a mistake there for Chain Game Wow, so that'll give us a bit more momentum here. We're a lot more closer to what we were a little bit earlier, so it's ACW. That's not ideal for ACW, who I think might have been effectively P2 from memory. I can't actually remember. I know Kush was leading the way as we get a lot of oversteer there out of the turn 1. that we couldn't quite get the momentum here on Chain Game Wild here. So this is pretty much the last few laps of this race. Just trying to put the pressure on here, just see if we can make an error or, and see if we can maybe try and get position 7. I don't think I've checked the penalties at this stage, as we have a bit of a late move. Well, it wasn't really a move there at all, but it was just late on the braking there. But we're still putting the pressure here on Chain Game. Well, we'll keep an eye on ACSC as well, because he's not far behind me as well. You'll see why, because he's actually got past G-Force Dre as well. Considering there's a couple of laps difference. Remember, he came in on the same lap as me. So ACSC's still got. Oh, sorry, Dre, I should say, he's got good straight line speed. ACSC goes for the move up the inside and gets the position for P9. The next up is yours truly. Now, there might be maybe some tempers, maybe a little bit, for what occurred earlier on in the formation lap, but we shall wait and see what happens there. But we're still putting the pressure here on Chain Game. Wow, just literally just right on his rear bumper here, all over that Haas car. You have a little think about it. He goes wide out of the final corner. Actually, might have been a much better run out of the final corner there for him there in the end. But it just, again, we're just trying our absolute best here. You can see the different lines we're taking here. I tried the more tighter line here, as obviously he tries the far out wide line and gets the better drive out of the corner there. But we've got to try and get past Chain Game Wow, but also try and avoid ACSC getting past us here. So we have to make this move stick pretty soon. As I say that, we get end up in the wall.
Damn it. There goes a good result.
Yep. Just as I said, there goes a good result from that one. So, yeah, ACW was saying it would probably be a late safety car, but yeah, I'm really doubtful at this late stage.
Yeah, but you're losing more.
So, yeah, sort of discussing a little bit about in the party chat about what's going on there, but yeah. In the end, I basically sort of just like seeded positions for what's occurred there. As actually, Star is Born, I think, had maybe a little moment himself there. So in the end, I'll let these guys go through there, as well as Sharu. So yeah, it's basically the points done and dusted for us, I think, this race here. So let's have a look at the replay here. So you can see I tried to get a good run out of the corner here, but I just have a big loss at the back end there, and probably just got on the power a little bit too early or something. But in the end, we lost a lot of our front wing on the right-hand side of things, and I was not overly happy here. So this will be a good view on board with ACSC here, see what occurred. You can see, there I go. Yeah, you could probably tell there was a little bit of karma there in the party chat. That was probably the only word I can understand there, but yeah, I mean, you probably understand it a little bit there from what occurred earlier on the formation lap. He might have been not happy with me, but maybe at the time I didn't feel like when I would watch the video back it was necessary, but I mean, that is what it is really. So again, I apologise for what happened on the formation lap earlier on, but yeah, it's sort of out of my hands here. It is a battle here with position for P3. Plebs and ACW battling away, and of course ACW did rejoin the lobby, so he'll obviously try and make up some ground here. Well, trying to again. This is ACSC trying to put a bit of pressure here on Chain Game Wow. Does the switch back to Dreams here. Get the much better drive here. Gets a position there for ACSC, so he's up into P7. So whatever's happened to Chain Game Wow's pace, it's just gone backwards. Literally. Again, like I said, he's on much fresher hard compounded tyres compared to us, but he just doesn't have the pace. So I don't know what happened to Chain Game, unfortunately. But anyway, we dive ourselves dive into the pit lane as we get ourselves obviously a front wing change. There was no way in hell I was going to go to the end of this race on a damaged wing, so we may as well get onto the soft compound tyres, get a fastest lap, see what it won't matter for anything really. So. We'll probably lose a spot again as well. We have lost a spot to Alex Pato, who's just obviously, I think, on a flying lap as we speak. Turn 4, we get another time penalty, so that's now 12 seconds worth of penalties now for us, I think. So that's here we go back to contrast. Now, he's making good inroads here on Anto for position 5 here. Now, I think Contrast started outside the top 10 from memory, so this is a pretty handy result here. This is sort of a common theme, like I said, what he was doing earlier, which seems to like come from the back of the grid and get a pretty decent race position in the end in the race. So fair play to him all around there in the end. But let's go for a flying lap, shall we, around the Hungary ring on this fresh soft compounded tyres. This is actually our fastest lap attempt. So ending down into turn 1, just brake before the 50-metre board. Just slightly missed the apex a little bit here. This was the exit, obviously, where I had the crash, obviously. Now to turn 2, get nice and tight into the apex through there. Run it out not too wide through turn 3 we go. Don't want to touch the curbs. Well, you don't want to cut the curbs too much there. And through turn 4, pretty much nearly took flat. Only rolled off the throttle a little bit. Now through turn 5, and then over the exit curb a little bit. Now through turn 6 and 7. Don't want to take too much curbs there, otherwise you will cop a corner cut penalty. Through turns 8, 9. Now about to take turn 10, and now turn 11. Hit that curb pretty nicely through there. Actually go fast purple through in the middle sector there.
What are you doing?
As we run it just a tad wide there, coming through turn 12. So it was not the ideal corner through there. So through turn 13, shifted up the gears pretty early, and through the final corner here at turn 14. And that is a lap of the Hungary ring. I'm not sure it'll be the fastest lap. No, it's not there in the end. So I think in the end it was 1:15.715, where Alex in front had set a 15.528, so we're about 2/10 off there in the end there. So, but overall it's going to be P14.
The laps where you were disconnected.
Yeah, I was not overly happy with that result there. It could have been a hell of a lot better, let's be honest. It could have been easily been a top 10. Contrast gets the driver of the day. No surprise probably whatsoever, considering he come from the back of the grid all the way up to, I think, peak 5 in the end. It's, there's the podium, so Kush takes another race victory.
6 seconds. If I didn't get disconnected.
In position... hang on, let me clarify that. Is Kush obviously in position for P1? Wow, I'm all over the shop today. I think there may be a little bit of an issue as well, because ACW, I think, because of the disconnect, apparently, I think it's sort of a glitch where if you finish the race, but you don't finish in the same position that you finish in the race, I think that could be wrong. I'm not entirely sure there. You can probably tell there, actually. I think he's, well, it's a little bit weird there. So I think it'll be Kush, Rhythms. It should be Kush, Rhythm, Kush, ACW and Rhythms, I think should be the podium. Not the way that it shows there. I could be wrong there, but Anto Varlo, I think, should have finished 4th. Players in P5, Contrast in 6. Teammate actually gets position 10s in the end, so very nice job then in the end for Goran. Obviously, we finish up in P13, 14, is it? I can't actually see you there. But there's the driver standings on your screen. It's actually 13 points, I think, now between ACW and Isaac Kush, so that's sort of now... Well, they've gone ahead of the guys that were originally here in T2, but now moved up to T1, that being Eternal Schnoz and Pure Gold. So players will be effectively in P3. There's the Constructors. So Williams now have a 7-point margin over Mercedes in the Constructors. Alfa Romeo now jump up into 3rd ahead of McLaren in 4th. Red Bull then drop back to P5 in the end, obviously with just this one singular point. Then it's Renault, Ferrari, Racing Point, Haas, and Alpha Tauri. So it's pretty close in the constructor standings, so it's not over yet. And there's obviously standings. We're still position 24 there in the end, so we're still on the 2 points there. The only point that's, person that's not scored points is Big Chich. I think he had another DNF in this round, so that probably will be updated a little bit once the new drivers as well come on board. When I say on board, as you see, GeForce TP's another guy making the jump up into the top tier. Bodhod was a reserve, and Iceman originally was in his tier, but had to pull out because of, I think, personal reasons there. So, but there was the overall results and the driver of the day stuff. So that's Contrast's 3rd driver of the day in this league. So on track for that one at the moment. But yeah, that'll do it for this round of the Hungarian Grand Prix in the Elite Series. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give it a big smash on that like button. As always, you can leave your comments down below. Subscribe to my channel for plenty more race spec F1 esports content on F1 2020, plus plenty more video gaming content as well. As always, all my social media links will be down in the description. Plus, I'll leave the links down below to the race spec social channels, their Facebook page, Twitter and Instagram, their YouTube channel, their Twitch channel. Plus, I'll leave a link down below to the Discord. If you want to come and join Race Spec anytime soon, just click the link below and should be able to see all the stuff that goes on there. But yeah, until the next time, whenever that may be, it is goodbye, and I'll see you all next time.